My most memorable moment actually comes before I started teaching. I came for the job interview and I didn't know him, but he was going to be my boss. Actually, my future boss at the time was taking me around building 2, and I saw the red stairs and I was like, oh, wow. And then I looked around and I looked up and I saw the big sky and I was thinking, I hope I can get the job so I can come here every day.
When I teach, I usually do some demo. There was one time in my online lecture, I intentionally created an error and let students observe how it will affect my computer. However, eventually it crashed my computer and surprised the whole class. This issue was unexpected, but it turned out to be an amazing example for students. They said that it was the most practical session they ever had, since they can observe how serious the error were, and I was the most dedicated lecturer they ever seen, who had crashed his own computer to do the demo for them.
So my most memorable teaching moment at RMIT Vietnam has been when I invited the Vietnamese Women's Museum to come into my New Media, New Asia class and have a workshop. So they presented about the museum, the background, what they needed from the young audience, which was, their input on how to develop museums to make them engaging for a younger audience. And so it was really memorable because we had museum staff in the room as well as all the students in the same room. And the students were excited because the actual staff were there. And the museum staff were also excited because they were first meeting the people who they'd wanted to connect to, the younger audience, for so long. And it was really memorable because it was very productive and successful. The students actually presented their ideas for the museum, like creating games or using KOLs in the museum's marketing, which the museum thought were really amazing ideas, new ideas, of course, from the younger audience.
Being a teacher is a gift, and with that one, when I always appreciate the problem-solving skill from the student. So whenever I give a student a problem to solve, they always come back with multiple solutions. That means two things. The first thing is the student is very creative in problem solving. The second thing is that I can myself learn from the student from this solution.
So what I treasure the most about being a teacher is really seeing students mature over the 3 years. So I see them in the first semester of year 1. They're so nervous, but also very excited and fresh. And then to see them then again in the end of year 3 when they're extremely mature. They may have studied a semester in Melbourne and they've come back. They've got this now different, more mature perspective. And so it's seeing that transition is really what I treasure about being a teacher.
So what do I treasure the most about being a teacher is that being a teacher. I know that sounds sort of strange thing, you're just repeating the question. No, but the answer to that question is that simple. I'm very privileged and I'm very lucky to be able to do something that I just love doing. So it's like, this is my passion and it has been for a very long time and I'm sure it will be for a very long time. So it's that is what I treasure about it. It's having that opportunity that not everybody gets, but I do, and so I'm lucky to be able to do those things that I love.
If you don't laugh, I will. I think my teaching can be defined as pit bull caring. Caring because I obviously love my students, I care about them and I want them to improve and to do well. And pit bull because if you are familiar with the pit bull is an animal, is a dog, that when it clamps onto something, it doesn't let go. So when I care for something or someone, I don't let go.
In my teaching philosophy, good teaching means that we can create an inclusively engaging and effective learning environment which can motivate all students to grow. It should allow students to interact and learn from the lecturer, but should also provide chances for self-exploration as well as for peer learning among students. Altogether, It's a bring joy and happiness for both students in their learning and also for the lecturer in the teaching.
Okay, so my proudest moment of, well, it's not necessarily teaching specifically, but it's teaching related. Recently I was given the lucky opportunity to be able to present at Vietnam Design Week in representing RMIT, but also speaking about creativity and design, and specifically interior design in Vietnam. So it was a wonderful opportunity, filled auditorium, lots of really important people there, super special, just really vibey day. And 10 of our students were there as well. And it was their busiest time of semester, so it was their final week, it was their super hectic. And there was this moment where I was talking about how amazing our students were, and how they would just stand out students to me, and just phenomenal work, doing great ideas. And then I looked at our students staring back at me, and I could see their faces, and they were just so proud. They were just beaming with smiles, and they knew that people were staring at them as well, that they were those students. And then their smiles made me smile, and it was this moment of shared pride, I guess. And that was really a standout moment for me this year.
Okay, so there are multiple crowded moments, but I choose this moment of receiving the teaching award. This moment is not about myself of receiving the award, but it is about the teamwork. So by receiving the award, we are saying that what we are teaching in work integrated learning value to the student, as well as we appreciate the effort of the team approaching work integrated learning.
So Catherine, how long have we been working together?
For a couple of years now. How did we start working together?
I believe you referred some students to me by email who needed a bit of extra support with note-taking and paraphrase. Is that right?
Yeah, after academic integrity breach. So we started with the referrals and then expanded it to more preventative stuff so we could support more students.
We did some workshops and embedded some videos into Canvas as well, didn't we? So Catherine, what were you hoping your students would get out of our collaboration?
So mainly I was hoping they would get another point of support, so they're not relying entirely on their teacher, and they've got some other options to build their independent learning skills by contacting SAS, by using Learning Lab.
And that aligns perfectly with SAS, because that's one of our key principles, is to develop students as independent learners, so they can become better students.
A bit more control and responsibility and autonomy in their learning journey.